name's Simon Lewis Woods. I'm a sculptor and maker based in Auckland. I started making stuff out of glass, and it's probably still my favourite medium. Kind of branched into using all sorts of stuff, steel, concrete, quite a lot of ceramics. I have an idea and then find the material that works really. Really good friend of mine, his dad, one of a group of people who started the glass studio movement in Auckland in the 70s. When me and my friends kind of like left school, most of us ended up doing like at least 6 months in John's studio. Him and a couple of guys were blowing glass, and they were teaching themselves how to kind of make glass because it was hard to get down here in New Zealand. But up until recently we had the company was called Gaffer Glass, and you'd go down there in Morningside and it was essentially just like a glass kind of candy shop. And you'd walk in, they had 13 or 14 different furnaces, 20 people working there pulling glass out of furnaces and going through the process. In all of these colours, it just looks, the word that comes to mind is yummy when people kind of like see it. So it just looks like lollies. You kind of want to eat it and it looks kind of edible. So I just like took a little rubber moulding off a jet plane. The form and the colour would kind of transport people like in a time machine back to being kids, and even to the point of like when people would start telling me, they'd be like, oh, it reminds me of when me and my brother went to the dairy, and they'd kind of start close their eyes, even like shrink a little bit, like go get smaller like kids, and just really expanded on that. I quite like the idea of making these things bigger, kind of making them maybe the size of that they felt when you were little. So kind of like scaling something up, in turn you're kind of shrinking the viewer down. So just playing on that nostalgia. I see there's kind of like two sides to how my brain works. There's kind of like the inspiration that I have for ideas of kind of what to make. Yeah, I don't totally know where they come from, but I know when they happen. A lot of road trips, and like the first piece of art that I made was this glass telephone pole. I started off kind of writing graffiti with my friends, and kind of doing some glass graffiti would be a bit too on the nose. So I was like, oh, what's kind of out on the street that kind of interests me, and kind of went out and saw some manhole covers and telegraph poles, and my job is to kind of marry those two things. So I'll have an idea of something to make, and then that'll kind of click with something I might have seen yesterday. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that, and that's when I get excited. Quite an important part of the experimentation is kind of me investing in tools and machinery. I'll buy a piece of equipment that I've seen someone using, or that I might not necessarily need now. So I'll just like buy the thing, and then I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do with it? I didn't go to art school or didn't really train. I kind of feel quite lucky in the fact that I don't really feel like there's too many rules, along with a lot of R&Ding and a lot of breakages and a lot of fails. Every once in a while there'll be some magic that comes along. I've got a few things on the go, but something that is really fun at the moment, and it's funny, I feel like it's kind of like in the zeitgeist a little bit. You'll start making something and then you'll see people using a similar kind of idea. So I've recently seen people welding metal together and then blowing air into it, and you can kind of manipulate that, but everything has very soft edges, and there's some size limitations, whereas I've got some really big kilns, and you can cut this float glass that I'm using to kind of like any shape. So nice hard corners. I kind of like the brutalist kind of industrial kind of look of things. So I'm playing with inflating, doing my own kind of like quick glass blowing techniques.